What's up everybody, Watt007 here, and welcome back to a brand new Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links leak video. In today's Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links leak video, we're going to be talking about all sorts of new updates for the game, because we got some really cool updates for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, thanks to the addition of the new Dark Signer Rex Goodwin event, which, by the way, if you guys want to hear coverage on Dark Signer Rex Goodwin, I'm going to be doing a live stream tomorrow at 8 p.m. CDT, if everything goes well, on my reaction to the event. But today's video is going to be exclusive to a bunch of new information. We're going to be talking about the unlock for DSOD Joey, because there's a ton of brand new skills in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links that are related to Joey, and it would make a lot of sense if all those skills actually catered towards a unlock event for Joey in the near future. We also have all the brand new skills for Blair, most likely another indicator that she's going to be unlockable, which was pretty obvious in the first place because we got confirmation that she has a roaming event. So some point in the future we'll have Blair as an unlockable character, but currently at this moment we have all of her skills leaked that are brand new. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about some miscellaneous stuff. We're going to talk about some miscellaneous Aster skills. Apparently Aster is getting a brand new skill, which is pretty cool. And we're also going to be taking a look at just some miscellaneous stuff like character lists for the Duelist Chronicles event. So if you guys are excited for today's batch of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links leaks, be sure to go smash that like button on the video down below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and let's get into today's news and information. So first things first, we're going to talk about the information that's still really cool, but nothing like, you know, noteworthy for an entire video. So we're going to talk about just the miscellaneous stuff at the beginning of the video. Thank you to DuelLinksMeta.com, as always, for posting all the leaks in a very convenient place. If you want to check out DuelLinksMeta.com, link in the description down below. Let's go talk about some of the miscellaneous updates for this leaks. So first things first, we're going to talk about some new item IDs in the game. We have something called Skill Ticket and Dual Memory. Now, when it comes to Dual Memory, that could honestly be up in the air on what that could mean. Possibly it is something for in a future event in the game. My only guess for Dual Memory is that it could be something for an Agami Gate event sometime in January, because we haven't got Agami yet, and he was the last character teased from the Dark Side of Dimensions world. And Dual Memory just kind of sounds familiar to the whole theme that they've been kind of going with the Transcend game event. So I could see Dual Memory just being an item for a Gate event, but honestly, with how vague Dual Memory is, it could mean all sorts of different things. So that's just my guess. You guys can tell me in the comment section down below what you guys think Dual Memory will mean. Also, we have something that's actually a lot more easy to guess, and this is called a Skill Ticket. And as you guys can see with the artwork for the Skill Ticket on the right hand side over here, which is pretty cool. Now, as you guys know, when the Dark Side Dimensions world came out, we got these things called skill chips, and if you got 100 skill chips, you could use them to spin for a random skill for a character that you like. You didn't get the guaranteed skill that you want, but you had a chance to spin the lotto for a skill that you would want for your character, as long as it wasn't unlocked yet. So maybe Skill Ticket is going to be a new way to go at it, and maybe it's going to be a way where we can just finally get the guaranteed skills that we want. Very cool concept though, and I hope that they incorporate Skill Ticket in a cool, unique way that benefits the players very well. But those are some new item IDs right there. We also have some new Matte and Sleeve IDs for Paleozoic Canadia and Senju and Sonic Bird. This most likely means that we're going to probably get another bundle in the shop very soon, which is pretty cool, because if you guys didn't know, there's these bundles in the shop where you can get a guaranteed copy of a powerful card and 6 or 10 packs from the most recent box. So for example, we have the Mirror Wall bundle, which is actually called the starter set. I'm on Duel Links right now, and what was really cool about this is that it gave you a guaranteed copy of Mirror Wall, it gave you a game mat related to Mirror Wall, and then it gave you 10 packs from the recent box. And what's cool too is that every time a new box comes into Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, the bundle will update itself to give you the 10 packs from the most recent box. So the fact that we're getting new Matte and Sleeve IDs for Paleozoic Canadia and Senju and Sonic Bird most likely means that we're getting some brand new bundles for Paleozoic Canadia and Senju and Sonic Bird, which is actually really cool for anybody that's willing to spend a couple dollars to get a guaranteed copy of a very good card. For me, I'm probably going to go into that Paleozoic Canadia bundle, because I only got 2 copies of Paleozoic Canadia, and it'd be nice to get a third one right there. So it's really cool that we're getting some new bundles for the players that feel like spending a couple dollars in the game. So that's cool right there. So the last thing we're going to take a look at right here is the 5D'S characters for the Chronicles event. These are going to be a bunch of placeholder IDs for the upcoming Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D'S Chronicles event, which means that none of these characters are going to be unlockable in the near future, but they're still cool to talk about nonetheless. And if you didn't know already, the point of these 5D'S characters for the Chronicle event is that they're going to make the anime make sense for the retelling of the anime in the 5D'S Chronicle event. Hopefully it made some sense right there. I've been trying to record this portion and trying to make sense for forever, but I just can't do it. Also, on top of that, we also have the Matte sleeves on the bottom over here, which you guys can unlock in the recent or in the current Dark Signer Rex Goodwin event. Let's get into it though. So we have Blitz, Tank, Nervin, and Rally Dawson, all 4 of the homies that Yusei was with at the beginning of the anime. We have Lazar, which is pretty much Rex's lapdog right there. We have Professor Frank, and if I remember correctly, he was a duelist that fought against Luna in the Fortune Cup. Same thing with Greiger Krebon, which is, while Krebon didn't fight Luna, Luna and Krebon are kind of homies, kind of how, like, the other Krebos from the previous animes were kind of, like, buddies with the protagonist. For Luna, she got her own little Krebo called Krebon. We have the Audience and Crimson Dragon, which are references to the Fortune Cup. We have Rex Goodwin, which is also reference to the Fortune Cup, and this is the non-Dark Signer, or this is a non-Dark Signer Rex Goodwin. And considering that we have an unlock event for Dark Signer Rex Goodwin, could possibly mean that we can get a cool render of Rex Goodwin in the upcoming Chronicles event, but for all I know, they're probably just going to show a screenshot of normal Rex Goodwin in the Chronicles event. And then next up right here, we have Chief, who was the head of Sector Security. Considering that they didn't say the specific name of the dude that technically tortured Yusei, I'll pop up a image of him on the screen because I don't remember his name exactly. I don't know if it's that guy. I think this might just be literally the Chief of Sector Security and probably telling your boy Trudge what to do, because the Chief and Trudge were kind of prominent in the beginning of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D'S because the Chief was telling Trudge to chase after Yusei and stuff like that, so there you go. We have Duelist, don't know what that really means. Black Rose Rich is a reference to, you know, Akiza, and before she became a, I guess, protagonist, you could say, she was just a Black Rose Rich and was kind of famous for that in the show. We have Greiger, non-Dark Signer form. Considering Greiger's in here, probably means that we won't get normal Greiger unlockable, but I could still see Dark Signer Greiger being unlockable sometime soon. Hopefully we can get an unlock event for him because some of his cards are pretty cool, and I feel like some of his cards could get added into an unlock event instead of a box. And then last but not least, we have this guy called Gil right here, who was also a person in the Fortune Cup, who I think Akiza just absolutely decimated, if I remember correctly. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong, post-editing right there, and give myself some more editing to do. Let's get it right there. The only thing that makes me sad about seeing these 5D'S characters for the Chronicles event is that we'll probably get a Dark Signer Chronicles event, and bro, they're probably going to make Misty just a character in the Chronicles event, and that's it. I still have hope that Misty will be an unlockable character, but man, it feels like the chances are getting lower and lower than they already are every single day. Without further ado, let's go move on to the epic skills in today's video. Now let's get into the real juicy stuff of today's leak video. We're going to go talk about the new skills for Aster, DSOD Joey, and Blair. Let's get into it. First skill we're going to talk about is the one who defeats Destiny. You can use the skill for the 4th turn. After your life points are 3,000 or less, summon one Destiny Hero Dark Angel from your hand to your opponent's field in defense position. If a Destiny Hero Plasma is on your opponent's field, you can put it back on the top of his deck. This skill won't activate if you have a non-D hero monsters in your deck. You only can use this skill once per duel. And when it comes to the skill, I'm not going to really talk about it too much in today's video because I just don't understand the legitimate purpose for this skill. I think it is a reference to some point in the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX anime, and like I said, I haven't watched the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX anime in a long time, so for anybody out there that is an expert on the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX anime, please tell me in the comment section down below on what episode this is a reference to, and if not, then I don't really understand the purpose of this, but I'm not going to dwell on it too much because there's really no point if I don't understand the skill. Next up, we have another skill called First Step to become a pro. Dual assessment points for a tribute summon are multiplied by 1.5. Now, I think this is a skill reference to Aster just because it says the first step to become a pro. Could still potentially be a skill for DSOD Joey because Joey does have tribute monsters in his deck and Aster doesn't. So I'm going to say it goes for Aster, but it could easily go for DSOD Joey. Nonetheless, though, First Step to become pro is just going to be a cool skill for farm decks. I feel like that this might be a good way to get certain score for certain farm decks. So First Step to become pro, hope we get that skill very soon because I want to see it. I want to see the skill tried out in some farm decks. Now let's go take a look at all the skills that are related to Joey from this recent update. And honestly, since we're having so many skills in this recent update related to Joey or a reference to Joey, this most likely means that we're going to be probably getting a Dark Side Dimensions Joey sometime in 2020. Because as you guys know, Joey or Dark Side Dimensions Joey has not been confirmed at all from Konami. But all these leaks I'm about to talk about in today's video are just a ton of references to Joey. Speaking of which, we're going to be talking about the first skill related to Joey, Scapegoats, which was a card he used a lot in the show. If you have 2,000 life points or less, you can activate this skill. Instead of doing your normal draw, summon on the field 3 Scapegoat tokens in defense position. After you use this skill, your turn immediately ends. You only can use this skill once per duel. Now, it's really cool that Duel Links is incorporating Scapegoats into Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, but I'm going to be honest, I doubt we're going to see this skill be meta relevant at all. You only can activate the skill if you have 2,000 life points or less, and then you can activate it. it, you have to skip your normal draw for the turn, but then after you skip your normal draw for the turn, you can summon 3 Scapegoat tokens in defense position. What also sucks, though, is the fact that once you use the skill after you summon those 3 tokens, your turn immediately ends, and you only can use the skill once per duel. And also, you got to keep in mind, too, is that the Scapegoat tokens are non-tributable. You cannot tribute them. You can summon, and you can use them for Synchro and Fusion material, but you can't use them for tributing for ritual or just tribute summons in general. So I feel like there's not really like any benefits at all when it comes to Scapegoats, but it's so cool that they're incorporating Scapegoats into Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. And the only deck I could really see using Scapegoats is literally stall decks. But at the same time, if this gets popular in stall decks, people are probably just going to start playing monsters that can use to do piercing damage. Like, for example, Invokes have Invoke Purgatrio. Invoke Purgatrio would love to attack into 3 0 defense Scapegoat tokens, that is for sure. So it's a really cool skill. I'm glad they're incorporating Scapegoats in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, but honestly, the skill's kind of trash. Next up, we have a really cool skill right here called Fusion Change Red Eyes. By sending to the graveyard one of the cards listed below, you can transform a Red Eyes Black Dragon you're controlling in a different card. You only can use this skill once per duel. List the cards. You can sacrifice your Red Eyes Black Dragon and summon into a level 6 Fiend normal monster to help out into your Black Skull Dragon. You can transform your Red Eyes Black Dragon into a level 6 Dragon normal monster to help out your Meteor Bee Dragon. And you can summon into a level 4 Earth Attribute Warrior monster for Red Eyes Slash Dragon using Red Eyes Black Dragon right there. Now, I think this skill is pretty cool, but I'm not too sure if this is going to be a meta-relevant skill either, because you do have to pitch one of your cards to transform a Red Eyes Black Dragon into one of these monsters, and most likely, especially if you're playing Red Eyes Fusion, there's not really much reason to do this fusion change stuff, because you can just use Red Eyes Fusion to send those listed materials to the graveyard to summon into your Black Skull Dragon, Meteor Bee Dragon, and Red Eyes Slash Dragon. Maybe the skill could see some play if we ever get Dragonic Fusion as a unlockable card that's not locked behind a skill, because then you can banish your monsters from the graveyard and banish them and then go for the fusion summon right there. So I could see that happening, but other than that, I feel like this is still super janky, but a super cool concept nonetheless. I like the idea of the skill, but I feel like there's too many handicaps with this skill to really get any benefit out of, and you might as well just play Red Eyes Fusion at this point. So the next skill we're going to take a look at right here is a very generic skill called My Warriors. You can increase by 200 the attack of level 4 Earth Attribute Warrior monsters you control. So this is kind of very similar to Ties of Bind, Beatdown, all those attack bonus skills, but specifically for Earth Warriors in the game. At the same time, though, wouldn't you want to play just Field of Warriors instead of playing My Warriors? At least for how vague the skill sounds like, maybe it is better than Field of Warriors because it's technically a field spell without having the field spell on the field. So maybe that's pretty good right there if I'm reading this correctly, or it's just a bad rough translation and maybe this is just a once per turn type of skill. But it's a very generic skill. We'll see if we get it in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. Next skill we have is Souls for My Friends. If you control one of the monsters listed below, you can activate the skill. Increase their attack by 300 times the number of those monsters you control. You can use this skill twice per duel. List of cards. You can use a Red Eyes Black Dragon, Jinzo, or Legendary Fisherman to trigger this skill, and you increase their attack by 300 times the number of those monsters you control. So if you have all 3 of these monsters on the field, you can boost all of them by 900 attack. This is pretty much just a very nerfed version of Beatdown, where it's only specific to these 3 cards, but it works like old Beatdown where you can activate it all the time and you can increase your monsters by 300, which is pretty cool. So it's cool that we have this skill. Not really practical at all. Might as well just play other skills to help you get into your Red Eyes Slash Dragon instead of boosting your Red Eyes Black Dragon, Jinzo, or Legendary Fisherman. Super cool reference. I love the reference of this skill, but it's like, it's not really that practical in the game. So this next skill we're going to talk about is probably my favorite out of all the DSOD Joey skills that we're going to talk about in today's video, and this is called Time Roulette Big Hit. You can use this skill to turn you got the correct coin toss using Time Wizard's effect. Transform the cards below in the following target's list of cards. You can transform a Dark Magician to Dark Sage, or you can transform a Baby Dragon to a Thousand Dragon. This is clearly a reference to the Season 1 anime, where when Joey activated Time Wizard's secret effect, he was able to transform his Dark Magician and Baby Dragon to Dark Sage and a Thousand Dragon, which is just super anime, and you can't do that at all in Yu-Gi-Oh! But now with this skill, if we are able to obtain it, if DSOD Joey comes into Duel Links anytime soon, we can use this skill to basically play the anime, which is honestly really cool in my opinion. I would like to make a video on this. I don't know if I will get around to making a video on this, but when this skill becomes lockable, I would love to build an anime deck utilizing Time Wizard and trigger off that anime effect to win a duel, because it's really cool. Probably my favorite skill out of the bunch. Next skill we're going to take a look at is Red Eyes Fusion. You can use this skill when your life points are at 2400 or below. Return to your deck deck 1 Red Eyes card and 1 Red Eyes fusion to your hand. If your life points are exactly 2400, you can use 1 Red Eyes Black Dragon from your graveyard to activate this effect. You can use the skill once per duel. Now this is really cool because this is literally support for the Red Eyes slash deck late game. Late game, if you need to go for another Red Eyes fusion, you can use this skill right here to return a Red Eyes card to your graveyard to then add a Red Eyes fusion that's still shuffled in your deck into your hand. They'll hopefully go for the win. What's cool too is that if you somehow have 2400 attack points or life points left, you can banish or you can use a Red Eyes Black Dragon from your graveyard to activate its effect, so you don't need to return any of your cards back to your deck to trigger the skill. Super cool skill right here. I honestly like it a lot. This is probably the best skill for DSOD Joey, and it literally helps out the Red Eye slash Dragon structure deck, which is really cool. The next part of this video, we're going to talk about all Blair's skills that got leaked in this recent update. But first, before we talk about the skills, let's do a refresher on the 2 cards that are referenced for Blair that we're going to be able to get from a roaming event. And all of these cards that I'm about to talk about right now are going to be usable for her new skills. So, Maiden in Love is a 2-star light spellcaster effect monster, has 400 attack and 300 defense. As long as this card remains face up on the field in its face up attack position, it is not destroyed as a result of battle. Put a Maiden counter on a monster that attacks this card. And the other card we need to do a refresher on is the equip spell called Cupid's Kiss. If the equipped monster attacks a monster with a Maiden counter on it, and the controller of the equipped monster takes battle damage, take control of the monster that inflicts battle damage to a player's life points at the end of the damage step. Now that we did that quick refresher, let's get into talking about these Blair skills. First Blair skill I'm going to talk about is Maiden High Tension. When you take control of a monster thanks to Cupid Kiss's effect, you gain as many life points as a monster attack. So this skill is very straight to the point, but it's pretty decent if you're going to play Blair's deck in the first place. You gain that many life points after you take one of your opponent's monsters. So if you're playing this janky deck, at least from first impressions, this deck seems a little janky. But when you are playing it, you need that boost of life points to keep going for the combos. There you go, Maiden High Tension. Very cool. Straight to the point. Gains life points. Very cool. We have Lovely ... Target as many opponent monsters for every Maiden Love you control. You can put a Maiden counter on each monster targeted this way. You only can use the skill once per duel. So Lovely is probably the best skill for the Maiden in Love deck because Maiden in Love requires your opponent to attack into you to trigger its effect. Lovely, on the other hand, makes it to where you don't need to wait for your opponent to attack into you. You can play Lovely if you have a Maiden Love on the field to give counters to your opponent's monsters, and then you can equip Cupid's Kiss to your Maiden Love and go for the combo of stealing your opponent's monsters. So if this deck is going to become meta, it's probably because of Lovely, but those cards by themselves are not good. But Lovely, on the other hand, is probably going to be a pretty good skill if this deck is able to get out its combo as calm as it could. Next up, we have Maiden Unifying Force. Select one Maiden in Love you control. As long as it remains face up attack position on the field, your opponent cannot attack other monsters you control till the end of the turn. You can use this skill once per duel. So Maiden Unifying Force is an okay skill for the deck. It clearly helps out the deck because your opponent is forced to attack into your Maiden in Love, and of course, if they attack into your Maiden in Love will give them a counter. But at the same time, Lovely is just a better skill than Maiden Unifying Force in my opinion, because Lovely, like I've said earlier in the video, forces your opponent to get counters on their monsters, whether they attacked into your card or not, because you just force the activation. And with Maiden Unifying Force, I think if your opponent really wanted to, they could just end their turn and just not attack into you at all. The only downside to this skill is, of course, that if they do keep attacking to your Maiden in Love, you'd still take battle damage when they attack into your Maiden in Love. The only thing with Maiden in Love is that it just doesn't get destroyed by battle, so you still gotta worry about that risk. But other than that, I think Lovely is a better skill than Maiden Unifying Force. And the last skill we're gonna take a look at is Maiden cards are tough. The battle damage you would receive from your Maiden in Love is halved. Good skill right here. You don't take as much damage as you would when your opponent attacks into you, but still, I think Lovely is just a better skill overall from all 4 of these skills that we talked about for the Maiden cards. But it is cool that Konami is giving a lot of support to Blair's archetype by boosting it a ton with these skills, because if we didn't get these skills in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, Maiden in Love and Cupid's Kiss would probably not see that much play, like, at all. But the fact that we're getting these skills for Blair whenever she does come unlockable in 2020 definitely is going to help out with that archetype, which is pretty cool in my opinion. So it's cool that Konami is utilizing Duel Links' skills to boost archetypes that wouldn't really get that much love if they didn't have any skills. Well, that's going to be it for today's Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links leak video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, be sure to show your support by hitting that like button on the video down below, and subscribe to the channel for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links content. If you haven't already, be sure to go check out some of my previous videos, like my trying out the Black Wings for the first time video. It was a ton of fun to edit. Be sure to go check out that video because I had a ton of laughs in it, and be sure to stay tuned to my live stream that I'm going to be doing tomorrow at 8 p.m. CDT if everything goes well, because I really want to do a live stream on the brand new Dark Center X Goodwin event. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll go see you guys in the next one.
In a cycle repeat. A lie. How many chasing their dreams? A lie. How many of us give up cause we taking the failure as if it's defeat? A lie. How many of us is weak? A lie. How many of us is scared? A lie. How many of us don't understand that we got somebody who really cares? A lie.